Hello, welcome to our 6th video lesson on Theme D, Religion, Peace and Conflict. This lesson is all about holy war. Today we're thinking about what a holy war is, and we're going to think about Christian responses to the idea of a holy war. Your need to know today is this, that although there have been wars fought under the name of Christianity, it is a stretch to find any biblical support for violence of any kind, especially regarding the concept of a holy war. So let's jump straight on in. What is a holy war? A holy war is effectively believing that it is right to fight a war in the name of God. Now, when we come at this from a Christian point of view, we want to consider what the Bible says and what Christian teachers have said and all the other influences that Christians have on their moral compass, on their moral decision making. You'll probably know that through the Old Testament, through the Tanakh, there's lots of examples of the people of God going to war. But as you'll see, this becomes less and less apparent as we get towards the New Testament and then on from there. So we need to think about, would it ever be acceptable for a Christian, that's what we're thinking about this lesson, to partake in a holy war? Is there such a thing as a holy war fought for God in Christianity? Well, the way we're going to start with this is by going to the core of Christianity and thinking about the question, what makes a Christian? So what is the definition of a Christian? You might have one in mind already. I would say that a Christian is a follower of Christ, someone who follows Jesus, someone who obeys Jesus' teachings and follows Jesus' example. Now, from the very beginning then of this lesson, bear that in mind. Why do you think most Christians would say that a holy war could never be justified? Well, hopefully you know enough about Jesus' teaching and life to answer that. But let's have a look now. Let's start by looking at some of Jesus' teachings. What I'd like to do is keep a little tally. If you've got a bit of paper and a pen nearby, maybe tally these up into 2 columns, but maybe just do it in your head if you want. We're going to look at some of the teachings of Jesus and make a note of all the ones that could be used to support a holy war and all the ones that would oppose a holy war, that would go against the idea of a holy war. Okay, so love your enemies. This is one of the most radical teachings that Jesus has. A lot of Jesus' teachings have been said before by other people, but love your enemies is very unique to Jesus. It's very radical. Just the concept is quite mind-blowing, that people who are out to get you, that you should love them. Now, obviously, when we think about holy war, this is one mark for opposition of holy war. This does not support a holy war. This goes completely against it. Pray for those who persecute you. So people who are treating you badly, you should pray for those people. Again, I think this is another mark for our opposing holy war column. Treat others the way you'd like to be treated. I think you can see where this is going. Love your neighbor. Put your sword back in its place. For all who live by the sword, die by the sword. And we know this quote is taken from Jesus' arrest, where Peter, one of Jesus' disciples, cuts off the ear of one of the people who are trying to arrest Jesus. And Jesus heals the man and says, put your sword away. If you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. If you don't have a sword, sell your cloak and buy one. Okay, you can see this one is maybe on the other side. But I'm going to be honest with you, this is the one quote I could find from the New Testament or from anything that Jesus said that remotely might support a holy war. And I think you can see that actually when you look at this in the context and when and how Jesus says it, it would be quite hard to take this one quote and just say, yes, this supports holy war, when you look at the whole range of other things that Jesus said which would oppose a holy war. Okay, so we've looked at his teachings. What about his example? Let's look at some of the things that Jesus did and see whether, again, we can use these to support holy war or that would oppose a holy war. Right, so Jesus healed people. He went around healing people. We know he healed the leper, he healed the paralyzed man, he healed the woman who had a hemorrhage, he healed the man with a withered hand. He went around healing lots and lots of people. He brought people back from the dead. He brought Jairus' daughter back from the dead. He brought Lazarus back from the dead. He gave people second chances. He forgave people. And he showed people compassion. He was moved by love for people and then helped them in their troubles. Jesus shot me. Okay, I made that one up. I'm being a bit facetious here, but you can see that when we look at the example of Jesus, it's very hard to take what he did and said and then go fight a war in his name. Ultimately, with Jesus, we need to remember that when Jesus won his greatest victory, it was through dying on a cross. So Jesus didn't win a victory by fighting people. He allowed himself to be arrested. He allowed himself to go on an unfair trial, and then he gave up his life to win the battle over sin and death. I don't want to repeat the point here, but you can see there is very, very little biblical backing or Christian teaching that backs up the concept of a holy war. So, what is this all about? This is the Crusades. You've probably heard a bit about the Crusades already. You might be an expert on them, but how can someone take the teachings of Jesus and then go and kill people under his name? I don't want to simplify it, but is it a bit like a hammer? Like someone builds a great hammer that just hammers nails in really, really well and smooth and effectively, and then someone else takes that same hammer and nails someone's head. If you take something and use it for the wrong reason, does it make that something evil? Does it make that something wrong? If you take Christianity and use it for the wrong thing, you use it to harm people or to spread your political agenda or to take land that's not currently yours, is that okay? And if you do that, are you wrong for doing that, or is the thing you've taken wrong? I'm not sure if that makes sense to you. Hopefully that does. When it comes to the Crusades, there's people out there who are much bigger experts on it than I am. I would recommend this video on YouTube. It's the Crusades in 5 minutes. It'll give you a great overview about it. If you're interested in finding out more about that, the link is there. Okay, now it's time to check your understanding. Have a pause of the video now. Have a really good think about these questions and write down your responses to them. I'm not going to be going through the answers with you today because some of these are all about your own opinion. But make sure you have a good grasp today of this topic, what you think Christians would say about it, and how you respond to it yourself. Okay, that brings us to the end of the lesson. Hopefully you're feeling confident about holy war now and how you understand it. Let's go back to our need to know. And here's your need to know for today. Although there have been wars fought under the name of Christianity, it is a stretch to find any biblical support for violence of any kind, especially regarding the concept of a holy war. Great to be with you today. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you learned something. Looking forward to seeing you next lesson.